So what is the role of syntax in reading? Proficient comprehension of text is influenced by adequate syntactic knowledge. And I'm going to define what I mean by that. What is syntactic knowledge? This research goes back to 2007, 2009, and way before that too. However, explicit teaching of higher level components of literacy, such as syntax or text composition, may receive little attention. And that was written in an IDA brief a few years ago that really explains how and talks about the fact that syntax is not taught very much. Why not? I maintain that part of it is because teachers don't have the confidence to teach it. They may not know syntax well themselves, and so therefore they aren't confident teaching it to their students. I also want, as I'm talking about sort of what is syntax and where does it fit into the big picture, this is a graphic organizer that IDA recently published. If you haven't seen their 75th edition, anniversary edition of Perspectives, you can go on their website. Even if you're not a member, you can look at it. It's a fantastic issue devoted to structured literacy in all aspects. So I'll just talk you through this very quickly. At the bottom of this graphic organizer, you see the why the science of reading informing structured literacy. You see the what. These are this is the content associated with structured literacy. And you can see sentence structure, grammar, right here. This is the how and the who. Who students, which students, what instructors need to know structured literacy? And the answer is they all do. So if we look at the content, we see sentence structure and grammar are over here in the language comprehension domain. So syntax is really how words are ordered in sentences, right? How sentences are constructed with words. And the grammar is really, what are those words? What are those parts of speech? And I'll elaborate on that more. But if we think about the elements of structured literacy, we see here that there is this emphasis on the structure of language, and we have the elements, we have phonology, we have the writing system or its orthography, the structure of sentences, what we call syntax, the meaningful parts of words, what we refer to as morphology, relationships among words, semantics, and the organization of spoken and written discourse. So structured literacy teaches all of this. And it's really important to emphasize that because many people who are maybe anti-science of reading, one of the things they often say is, well, you just care about phonics. You're only teaching kids to read words and decode. And that is not true at all. If you really believe that structured literacy is an approach that is most effective and will work for all students, you see all the elements of language are here. So these language structures that I will, again, keep coming back to. And remember, Hollis Scarborough's rope, at the top of the rope, has a strand that says syntax and semantics. So you can't separate the two. But I'm going to talk through each of these structures because I do want you to sort of think about this big picture. Language structure, syntax and semantics. We're going to talk about sentence structure. And we're going to talk about these three types of sentences. We also have to talk about punctuation. When we talk about syntax, we talk about the use of and the relationship between the words, the phrases, and the clauses in sentences, and that is where semantics comes in. We also talk about coherence. We're going to talk about meaning links, cohesive ties, because those cohesive ties build coherence within the sentences themselves and then from sentence to sentence. And that's where meaning comes in. We also want to think about the way words refer to objects and concepts and how the way words and their reference can be understood in context. So we often talk about pronoun reference that can be challenging for our students, especially our students who are multilingual learners.